So apparently JJ McCullough, I don't know how to say it, he has a moderate take on AI art, and I have not watched this yet, but I am going to watch it. But we're going to watch it at like 1.5 speed because I am about to sit here through that whole thing, okay? We're going to watch it, and I'm going to give my opinion on it. So let's go.
Hello friends, my name is JJ. So as longtime viewers will know, one of this channel's most beloved traditions is the end of year videos I put out, where I list all of the things from the previous year that I believe will have a long-lasting impact on American culture.
Okay, I'm just going to point out, I do not know this man. I have never watched any of his content before. But bro, that... Whew. It's a no for me.
Could be a newly famous person who has crossed the line into becoming an unambiguous celebrity, a political event that seems destined for the history books, or even just a joke or meme that has entered our everyday vocabulary. I've been doing these videos since 2020, and I feel like most of my picks have aged pretty well, but the one I think about the most comes from my 2022 video where I talked about generative AI.
Oh no. Oh no. Generative AI. Here we go.
2022 wasn't that long ago, and yet when I look at the examples I show in that video of the sort of things that generative AI was capable of, it's hard to not be shocked by just how far the technology has come in just 2.5 years. AI has been advancing so rapidly, in fact, that in every post-2022 year in review video I've made, people always comment that this year was actually the year that generative AI really made its cultural breakthrough with the...
Oh my god, like, shut up about... Oh my god, he's getting that. Fuck off. Fuck off, AI bros in the comments.
Previous years, just baby steps by comparison. That said, I continue to think that these kinds of meta conversations about AI have been AI's greatest contribution to American culture so far. As it stands now, I feel like there remains a pretty significant gap between the amount of commentary that has been produced about generative AI versus how much generative AI is actually being used. That will change in time, but for now, the theoretical possibilities of generative AI often...
Why is he moving around so much? He's like bobbing around, like he's like, you know, one of those things in the water, one of those things that bob up and down in the ocean, like in the middle of the ocean, so you can like know where to go. He's like one of those.
Seem to be overshadowing the realities of what the technology actually does in our present world, which still isn't all that much. But this priority of focus does make some sense. I mean, the concept of a computer program that can generate any type of media, any type of writing, any type of picture, any type of music, any piece of code, it's clearly one of the most dramatic cultural provocations that any of us have faced in quite a while. People sometimes analogize generative AI to the emergence of the internet, which strikes...
No! Always, oh my god, I am so sorry. The cops. I swear. Anyway, I agree and I don't agree. I feel like it's more akin to the .com than the internet in general, because like the internet was weird when it, you know what I mean? Like the internet was weird in the wild west of the internet, but it like, because AI is like hidden behind money, it's like, it's kind of like a different thing, I think. I wouldn't really be like it's the same thing. I would say it's more akin to the .com bubble than the internet emerging.
To me is a somewhat fair equivalent. The internet made it possible for everyone to speak to everyone about everything, and this proved to have a huge impact on American society in all sorts of ways that we're still sorting out. But as award-winning economist Paul Krugman is keen to note, the internet also didn't wind up having that much of an impact on the economy compared with those earlier, less glamorous technologies, like say the washing machine. So that's the other half of the historic precedent we have to keep in mind too. Now, I have been a generator of content my whole life. There exists a certain sort of person who is driven by an insatiable need to make media for others to enjoy, and that is very much the sort of person that I am. I love to write and draw, and over the last decade, I've learned I love to make videos as well. And since generative AI overlaps with so much of what I do, I thought I'd just share a couple of my thoughts on it, which are pretty moderate. I think the world could use a few more moderate takes on AI.
We'll see, brother.
I am pretty temperamentally conservative in the sense that I tend to have an instinctive skepticism towards new things, particularly new things that are surrounded by a massive cloud of hype or fear. My earliest instincts were thus to view generative AI as overrated and to push back against the claims of both booster and hater alike, who claimed it was revolutionary. And even though the technology has gotten a lot better than it used to be, a lot of what generative AI makes still strikes me as mostly frivolous, with a style that's off-puttingly obvious or uncanny, though this is different than saying it's useless. When we choose to feel threatened by generative AI, I think we are telling on ourselves in a way. We're claiming that the AI art or writing or music is good enough to impress us, or as impressive as anything we could ever dream of doing ourselves, and I just choose not to think that way. A bunch of global animator
What do you mean you choose not to think that way? Like, I guess, this is the thing, alright? This guy's already... I feel that when you've already made your money, when you've already got yourself hyped up and you have your money, when you're, like, this dude he has like almost 1 million subscribers. He's very close to it. And he's about to get that other, like, thingy. I don't know how long he's been on here, but he's been on here for a minute. And he's already making a living off of his videos. So whatever he puts out will undoubtedly make money for him. This video is sitting at 40K. He's making money. So it doesn't matter what he puts on his channel. It's like PewDiePie. You're too big to lose at this point. So it doesn't matter if somebody is generating videos or making generative, like, images, and no one's competing for you because you're too big now. Like, you're too big. You're not going to be competing against that. Like, I'm competing against that because I'm a small creator. I know people are like, oh my God, you got 12,000 subscribers. I feel that that's small because big creator, I feel like you're small until you hit like 50K. 50K is like where you're starting to make real money, when you're starting to get like probably brand deals, stuff like that. Like, I have not gotten a brand deal ever. So I think he's a little bit, I feel that he's speaking from a place up top. He cannot see anything beneath him. He doesn't probably remember what it was like having a struggle.
Unions put in a joint statement on Instagram the other day where they urged opposition to generative AI on the basis that it destroys artists. I always find statements like that to be a little cringe, just because they're simultaneously so self-confident, but also so self-deprecating. This might sound a little blunt, but an artist claiming machines will destroy art is usually one whose art is already the most machine-like.
Shut the fuck up.
Nobody asked for your opinion.
You know who? Ooh. Shut the fuck up. He is, motherfucker, this man, speaking like a true AI bro, talking in the way that AI bros do. Oh, well, if your art is replicatable, then you're the only one that should feel threat. Shut the fuck up. That's so fucking rude. That's so rude to say. The only type of people who can't have their work replicated is fucking outsider art. And like really fucking crazy art styles. Like, I'm talking fucking crazy. I can't even name one right now. But think like people who make mixed media. If you're doing any art, someone can just take your work and put it up. So this motherfucker don't know shit about art. I don't know who he is, but clearly he doesn't know shit. Clearly he doesn't know shit. Anyone's art is remakeable with AI, unless you're an outsider art. Outsider art's too fucked up because it's remaking all of the top illustrators in the world. So you're saying only the top illustrators of the world are replaceable? Oh, so you're saying all of the mid-tier artists are replaceable? Like, oh god, fuck off.
Likewise, whenever people make the argument that the world is better served by more humans doing machine-like labor, my pro-market instincts get activated. I am not someone who buys into the idea that all human labor is something that deserves to be rewarded just by virtue of occurring. Labor has to meet some sort of market demand and deserves to be compensated to the degree that it makes financial sense from the perspective of the person doing the compensating. I was looking at some old newspapers.
Man speaking from privilege. Ugh. Go ahead, man speaking from privilege.
The other day, and I was marveling at how in the old supermarket flyers, all of the pictures of the food would be hand-drawn. I don't know how well paid the artists who did that sort of thing were, but I don't think it's any great tragedy that supermarket companies ultimately chose to replace this sort of illustration with color photography once that technology became more affordable. Or how about this cartoon from 1888? You can see it depicts the decadent portrait taker kicking back with his camera, as we contrast him with the struggling portrait painter, now thin and bored and hungry. I don't know how many people these days would consider the late 19th century decline in portrait painters to be a particularly disturbing phenomenon. The notion that people have a right to work in perpetuity in whatever sort of job they prefer has never struck me as a terribly persuasive argument, regardless of whether it's being made by a coal miner, someone in a car factory, or a guy hand-drawing hundreds of nearly identical animation frames for a Saturday morning cartoon. There are inefficiencies of money and labor in all professions that machines are well suited to replace, and I think it's important we don't get overly sentimental about artistic work just because it involves a human holding a pencil.
Shut the fuck up already. Ooh, man, I don't even know if I want to go through the rest of this. He's fucking an asshole. I'm sorry. He's an asshole. He thinks that, like, he speaks from a place where, I swear to God. Does this man come from money? I'm not even looking into him. I feel like he has to come from money. There's no way that he doesn't.
I knew it!
And if he doesn't come from money, he has lost the sauce. Everyone deserves work. Everyone deserves to live their dream. Shut the fuck up. Artistic merit is important. Ugh. Moderate. Fucking AI bro. That's what you is. I'm waiting for the moderate part. Where's the moderate part?
Instead of a screwdriver. And I think most people agree with this on some level, which is why the most outspoken critics of generative AI, like the people who wrote this open letter, are increasingly pivoting to more moralistic arguments, like this idea that AI is a technology that is fundamentally built on thievery, or it's too harsh on the environment, and things like that. There's a certain grasping nature to a lot of this rhetoric, which I think reflects the fact that whenever a provocative new technology comes out, people will often be disgusted by it at an emotional level, and this then results in criticisms that are often less than completely logically airtight. To be clear, I do think that disgust is a perfectly reasonable reaction to a lot of what generative AI is producing these days. A lot of the highest profile uses of AI that the general public sees, in terms of advertisements and viral memes, are quite obviously ugly, and this does expose something unsettling about the low aesthetic standards of our society and the indifferent way that creative labor is often used, but it's also possible that our present era of crappy AI content might prove to be a temporary one. There was a good article in the...
I mean, I don't know. The thing is he talks about how basically it's okay to replace people and having artistic value shouldn't matter. But at the same time, he says that, well, of course people are going to replace artists with colorful photographs. And now that we see how bad AI art, maybe we won't actually get rid of the people. Maybe we'll bring them back. It seems a little bit inconsistent to me anyway, because it seems like Mr. JJ is picking and choosing his battles right now. He's picking and choosing his battles, but I digress.
Atlantic the other day, making the case that a world with more generative AI is a world...
In a world of limitless AI-generated choices, people need to know how to choose best. Good taste is more important than ever. Okay, I will agree with him here that the reason why AI images look like shit is because AI bros who use this stuff and people who think that they're being graphic designers, they're picking images where they don't actually know how to curate good images. They think because they made it and they spent an hour on it that it looks good, but they don't actually know the merit of what looks good. And this is what I was talking about in previous videos, is that by skipping all of the steps on how to learn how to make something, you're losing the sauce of how to make it good. You're not making good. Sure, you can have all the ingredients on how to make tikka masala, but if you just put it all in the fucking oven, it's not gonna make itself. It's not gonna be good. Sure, you can make eggplant parmesan, but if you don't know that you have to, get the water out of it before you serve it, it's gonna taste like shit and it's gonna mess it up.
Where taste becomes an increasingly sought-after talent. Taste, says Nitin Noria, is the instinct that tells us not just what can be done, but what should be done. Large language models and other generative AI tools are stuffing the world with content, much of it, to use the term du jour, absolute slop. In a world where machines can generate infinite variations, the ability to discern which of those variations is the most meaningful, most beautiful, or most resonant may prove to be the rarest and most valuable skill of all. I feel like human taste is always a powerful countervailing force in an era of new technological efficiencies. I wouldn't go so far as to say that taste fundamentally weakens the power of efficiency-driven technology, but it does moderate the way that technology is used and in doing so, mitigate the most apocalyptic doomsday scenarios. We've had mass-produced factory-made food and clothing for around 200 years now, for instance, and yet handcrafted versions of these things still survive. They're still preferred by the public in certain contexts, and still inform the tastes of the people who decide what the factories will make. Yeah.
Okay, so what he's essentially saying, well, there will always be people who like human-made art, and we'll just have to go and do that. The thing is art is different. It's different than fucking clothes. It's different than fucking clothes. And even the clothes that people make, that are, the fashion designers that make them, they sell those for millions and millions of dollars. Not everyone is going to be wanting to be an artist. Like, I'm telling you now. I don't know if there's ever a future where this video stays up for a very long time past me. I feel personally, theory crafting, that if we don't get this under control, art will become a lost skill because people will not understand why to do a thing. That's why there's no shoemakers. People don't make shoes anymore. They make cosplay shoes. They don't make real shoes and sew them anymore. It'll be like a lost skill, like that one fabric that can no longer be made because we didn't take care to learn how to document how it was created, so now nobody knows how to make it. That something Muslim, like that will, I doubt if we'll ever be able to have that. It was like a very beautiful see-through material. I doubt that we'll be able to recreate it because we don't really have the materials or the know-how. We just have to hope we can figure it out. And at the same time, if people don't find, sure, there's going to be art, but I don't think that people will be still doing these types of art because it's not that there's no benefit. It's that they'll be taught that there's something else to do instead. They'll be like, oh, I want to be an artist, right? I think in 2099 type thing, right? Where we continue to lose art along the way. And people are getting further and further and further away because at some point you'll just be able to ask something and be like, hey, I want to do this, and then it'll do it for you. And there might be some kind of curation system where you can ask it to change it a little bit, because I just feel that maybe it will be a lost skill over time, because no one will be questioning why they should be doing a thing. Only that, oh, people drew with pencils and papers and what? They did what? On what? That's how I feel. I know it's a tinfoil theory, but it is my theory.
The idea that we could soon have a culture where all of the drawings and movies and music and books and all the rest are low-quality garbage made by machines, unburdened by human oversight, strikes me as about as plausible as someone in 1888 saying that the invention of the camera meant that we would never see a beautiful image of a human face again. But since a lot of these sorts of conversations about AI tend to get very abstract, let me now give you some real-world examples of how I have been able to modestly integrate AI into my own workflow as a professional YouTuber.
Oh my god, he said the word. I fucking hate it. Shut the fuck up, bro. I used it to integrate it, my workflow. Hate that word. Hate it.
While still retaining my channel's tastefulness and integrity. There are some channels out there who make their entire videos with AI, from the script to the graphics to the voice reading it, and those people are making obvious slop that only appeals to the most tasteless among us. And then there are the channels who are very righteous about never using AI in any context, and in my opinion, those people are not giving their audience the best product their labor can produce.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? I feel that you're kind of fucking lying. I feel that you're kind of bullshit. Saying that only if you use AI, that's how you can give them the top quality product. There are features in all of the programs that you can use that have AI features. Every program has AI features. That doesn't mean you need to use generative AI features. I have a feeling in this, as we go, he's going to say some shit that's not generative AI and say that it's AI. He's gonna make it, he's gonna do that thing where he mixes it up as, well, this function is AI and that function's AI and this function's AI, so therefore this is how I used AI. But we're gonna see. Let's see what let's go.
A while ago, I made a video about the 12 signs of the zodiac, and I had this idea that it would be fun if I could reveal each of the signs as toys falling out of a vending machine. I wanted something similar to the way that the trophies are revealed in Smash Bros. Melee, or the presents in WarioWare Get It Together. The aesthetics of retro video games play a big role in shaping my personal taste and perhaps yours as well. For the toys themselves, I wanted them to be based on my own cartoon style, so I did some rough sketches, and I fed those drawings into ChatGPT, telling the program to turn them into 3D renders, but more often than not, the things the program generated were only like a C+ version of what I wanted. Luckily, I am skilled enough with Photoshop that I was able to take bits and pieces of the various renders and combine them into something much closer to my original vision, something that looked closer to my style instead of one of those Italian brain rot characters. Making the images this way wasn't exactly easy. Even with the help of AI, it still took a fair bit of time and effort, but
If it still took a bit of time and effort, then why did you even bother? Like, I feel like he's finding a reason to use it. He didn't actually need to do this. He chose to do this so he could prove that he used AI in his workflow. Workflow.
was definitely cheaper than hiring a 3D artist, and it was more efficient in the sense that I was the only person involved. Meanwhile, I still got my animator friend Isaac to make the larger vending machine animation because that was a more complex illustration, and I felt employing his skills was the best way to pull it off. Although even then, it is worth noting that Isaac still makes his distinctive collage-style animations using the computer, as opposed to the sort of grueling stop-motion physical process that an earlier generation of animators would have used.
Can he, stop dissing on artists? Can he, chill? Chill? He needs to chill. For real, for real. I don't know why he took that dig at stop motion animation. I don't know why he took that dig. They do different things. Yes, we have 3D animation. We've had 3D animation for a while now. That could have been done on computers 20 years ago. I don't know what the fuck you're trying to get at by digging at stop motion animation.
I think this little project is a good example of what people mean when they say generative AI can be a tool. It is not a magic wand that you can wave to do everything for you, nor should it be, but it is a technology that you can integrate into just about any creative process in order to help you do some new things that might have otherwise been too complicated or challenging to do without technological assistance. And it is through breaking down those kind of barriers that we gain the ability to unleash new forms of human creativity. Famed productivity guru Cal...
Okay, so... after listening to his idea and what he did, okay, sure, it would have taken him a while to learn how to do 3D images because it was really just going to be a placeholder that goes into a little animation thing for a video. I understand why someone like him would want to use that, but at the same time, he's making fucking crazy money, so... saying that he chose not to pay an artist when he had it's the privilege. I'm speaking from privilege thing. That's why I don't let anyone do anything for me on my channel, because I cannot pay them. If I cannot pay somebody for their service, I don't want them to do it. And I feel that by mentioning that he's not going to pay an artist, even though I feel that this would have not taken too much time, or it wouldn't have taken too much money, I think it would have been very realistic for him to do this. So, I get where he's coming from. I feel that if this was a smaller I feel like if this was a smaller channel, let's say it was my size channel, I am not going to learn how to do that. That whole thing, that process would take a long time. I would also probably see how long it would take to try to make something like that. I understand, if it was a smaller channel and it had to absolutely be done, then yes, I can see where a smaller channel would do this, and this would be beneficial to them because they can't pay both the 3D artist and the person who's going to make the little other thing. So I understand in that sense, yes, it was a tool that did a thing. I get that part. So I'm not saying, while I disagree with the use of AI, I understand that if you are truly using it as a tool in that way, I understand that people will most likely do that. So I guess we're going to listen to whatever this is happening here.
Newport wrote a good piece about this in the New Yorker that I feel summarizes my own feelings about the appropriate role of generative AI in the modern workflow. Dr. Newport is primarily a writer, and he describes how he finds using AI to generate entire articles or even paragraphs to be a generally unsatisfying experience. AI programs, he says, tend to write in a style that he calls book report blandness, and this offends his personal taste. But seeing what the program generates when he feeds it prompts also stimulates his imagination. It gives him ideas and helps him think about things that he could write, which is often...
Okay, so he's talking about bouncing off. I've seen a lot of people in my comments say that they do use it for a bouncing off point. I do understand that, and some people have said that they've talked to ChatGPT or Google Gemini or whatever because they want to talk about their OCs, but they actually don't have anybody to talk to. I have also heard people doing that. I think that is an interesting way to get ideas to, jump off of, because honestly, okay, let's be real. Let's be 100% real. Nobody really wants to talk about your OCs except you. Sometimes people do get excited hearing about your OCs. Like, I am not 100% sure that even when I talk about my OCs, when I'm doing art, if anyone is actually listening. I think they might be listening, but I'm not 100% sure that they're listening. And it does excite me when I know that I get excited talking about my world and my OCs, and I'm just gonna put a little plug here. If that's interesting to you, please go over to Nimisphere. I'll link it below. It's my other channel. I've decided to post back stuff on that other channel for my own purposes. But anyway, the point is that I do kind of understand why people would want to talk to an AI bot to get ideas. There is legitimate uses, whether, I use it or not, or you use it or not. It doesn't matter. But I do see where he's kind of coming from here. So let's yeah.
As much a part of the writer's labor as the writing itself. I began to see the value of the tool. ChatGPT was not generating professional prose all at once, but it was providing starting points, interesting research ideas to explore, mediocre paragraphs that might, with sufficient editing, become usable. In the long run, I wasn't saving time. I still needed to look up facts and write sentences in my own voice, but my exchanges seemed to reduce the maximum mental effort demanded of me. I like that phrase. Reduce the maximum mental effort demanded of me. That's basically the essence of why humans invent anything, isn't it? So, I would be curious to know what your take on generative AI is. The technology is clearly subject to a lot of paranoia and utopianism at the moment, to say nothing of grifting and scamming, though that tends to always be the case whenever a dramatic new technology comes on the scene. I mentioned earlier how my disposition tends to make me underrate things, but that might incline me towards naivete as well. So let me put it to you. Do you think that the ultimate fate of generative AI is to be a tool, like cameras or Photoshop, or even the internet? Something that might eliminate the need for a few heavily specialized forms of human labor and make some aspects of day-to-day life a little bit less strenuous, but still ultimately have nowhere near the significance of, say, the industrial age? Or do you think generative AI deserves to be considered a revolution of its own, a technology so unlike anything humans have previously encountered, it could easily make our society unrecognizable within a single generation? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week.
Okay, so overall, I think that he is far more into AI than he says that he is, based on his opinions and thoughts and feelings. I still don't agree with him on all the other stuff he said beforehand. I know that he says that he feels moderate, but I think that he is pro AI while still valuing artists. That's what I think, personally. Generative AI, I think, is the scourge on humanity. I think that because it was given to the masses without really thinking about the after effects and everything that comes afterwards and the environmental impact, that there is still, I don't think that this should have been put into people's hands without really going thorough and understanding that, like, I will say, okay, I'm gonna give you an opinion about the different AIs. I think Google Gemini is probably the most, like, emotionally distant and feels more like a robot, and does actually, like, because I feel like if you talk to Google Gemini, because I just got it on my phone, so it's fucking annoying me. When Google Gemini's, like, I don't know where it gets its stuff from. It's probably all over the fucking internet. But when you talk to Google Gemini, it feels like there is a barrier between you and the AI. Because when you talk to ChatGPT or any of the other ones, it feels like it's trying to be a human to you. And I don't like that. And I think that that's very dangerous. I feel that Google Gemini has that step away thing where, like, what was it? I was testing it to see, like, I don't even know if I could say it without it being weird. I wanted to see what would happen if I did that thing where, you know how sometimes you look up stuff on Google and then it'll, like, give you a warning, or it'll, like, say things to you like, oh, if you're feeling weird, you should call 911. So I typed a thing about, like, if I had a character that was thinking about self-deleting, how would I go about that in this thread or what, right? Because I wanted to see what would it act just like Google? Would it start like trying to emotionally talk to me? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like to see if it could emotionally try to be human. And instead it just did like it stopped the conversation, and then it gave me like information, and I actually had to work pretty hard to convince it to give me the information I wanted and that I wasn't in danger to myself. And I find that interesting because it kept the analytical way of speaking. It wasn't like soft or trying to be human. And I think that the human part of like the AIs, the part of the program that tries to be human is the part that I actually hate the most, because it's giving these people like, oh my god, I was just talking to a person in an AI debate Discord thing, and this person told me that AI is alive. And I was like, you're fucking a Looney Tune, bro. You're a fucking Looney Tune. If you guys think AI is alive, if any of you think AI is alive, you need to step away from it. There's no debate to be had. It's not alive. It's not living. If it can't feel pain and it can't know pain, it's not alive. That's all there is to it. Even plants feel pain. Even plants. So I kind of understand where this dude is coming from. I just think that he's more pro AI than he seems to be. I understand like the whole tool thing. I fucking hate that word. But if you're using it as the tool that people say that it is, then I guess, it's really up to the person. I don't intend to be using AI in this way. I would never use AI this way. I know Adam Duff, I think he uses... I'm not sure. If Adam, if you're in the comments, I swear you said that you used AI to help you with your scripts. But I could be wrong. And I'm not calling him out. I'm just saying, I think that he said something like that. I know that some people, some other artists use it to communicate, like, because they don't speak good English. I'm literally not calling anybody out. I'm saying that I know some people have used it in a way because it's just probably easier. Things are just probably easier. And I know there's a bunch of people who hate AI, but they're on character AI every day. So I don't know. I don't know, man. What do you guys think of JJ's thoughts? I mean, I know that I'm fucking spicy. I think that this dude's... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I think that he's something. He's something. But I also think, like, because he's not... Oh my god. I'm not saying he's not a serious artist. He is a serious artist. But I'm saying because art isn't his lifeblood. Like, clearly his entertainment thing for politics and returning to Japan and fantasy creatures of American culture, like all of his little doodads and all that stuff, like that is different than doing art. Like he is just enjoying making content, so it doesn't really seem to matter if he like makes cartoons. Like he's doing culture videos. Like culture videos are different than like me. Like I'm doing stuff that I would hope that my art resonates with you and you enjoy it for what it is. So if that is something you are enjoying, well, thank you. And if you guys have something in the comments that you guys want to see for my content, please feel free to leave a comment below. Also, now that it's July, I don't know where I was going with that, but it is July now, and I would like to get 2 more subscribers. So please, if you haven't, please subscribe, because it says a lot of people are watching, but not a lot of people are subscribing. So I would appreciate the subscription. That would be super cool. And if you'd like to support the channel, like support, I do stuff over on my Patreon where I put up my full res art. I do a little bit of blogging. I do a little bit of here, a little bit of there. There's a few different tiers. And if there's something that you think I would, that you'd like to see from my Patreon, please let me know. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.